We are reconvening to open session. And for report on closed session items, which is 5.1, there are no items to report. And so 5.2 announcement, this meeting is recorded for live streaming and archiving on the district YouTube channel at youtube.com/C/Benicia Unified School District for your convenience. At this time, I'd like for us to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, and Trustee Ferrucci, will you lead us in the pledge?
Please stand. Salute. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated.
I would like to call for an approval of the agenda.
I'll move to approve the agenda as presented tonight.
I'll second that.
Trustee Ferrucci?
Yes.
Trustee Grubbs?
Yes.
Trustee Maselli?
Yes.
Trustee Moss?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, next is item 8, which is the highlight on mental health services report presented by Care Solace. And Dr. Young, you are going to share a little information for the intro.
Thank you very much, Dr. Moss. I think what I'll do is I will turn it over to Ms. Corona, and she will introduce our guest and the topic for the highlight. Welcome, Ms. Corona.
Thank you. Good evening, board members, Dr. Young, everyone present. It is my pleasure to say that today we have this special guest speaker. Benicia Unified School District has partnered with an outside company to address our community's mental health needs. So today we have Mr. Schwartz. He is the Director of Relations for Care Solace, and he's going to give us a brief overview of what this company does and how it provides services to all of our to our staff, family, and students. Daniel?
Thank you, Ms. Corona, for the introduction. Hello, board members. Dr. Young, thank you so much for having me this evening. Really excited to introduce Care Solace. We're going to be working with Benicia. Today, I'm going to give a quick introduction of who we are and what we do. I'm then going to show you the software that's available to all students, family members, staff, and staff family members in your district. This should take about 10 minutes to get through. And at the end, I'm happy to answer any questions that you have about us. All right, with that, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. So Care Solace, our motto is from chaos to calm. We're a mental health care coordination service, and we're currently working with over 250 schools across the United States, both K-12 and higher ed. We're serving a student population of 3 million, but when we partner with the district, we want to be there for all your students, their family members, staff, and staff family members. So we're really here to be a community resource. Some people I'd like you to recognize from our organization. Myself, I'm your Director of Relations. If you ever have any questions about our service, I'm here for you all. I'm also overseeing our launch and implementation in your school district, providing resources to notify families and staff. Kelly Van Cleve is our licensed clinical social worker and director of our Care Concierge team. I'll explain a little more what our Care Concierge is, but I want you to know that Kelly trains and supervises that team. And then Miriam Stevenson is our executive director of community engagement, and we also call her our in-house educator. She has 17 years of experience as a teacher, a counselor, a site admin, and most recently was the director of student services in Palo Alto Unified. So she really brings that educator lens to the Care Solace team, and she's been an awesome resource for us and is available to all of you as well. The reason that Care Solace exists is because navigating the mental health care system is chaotic. And when someone needs help, they've got to navigate social stigma, their insurance, possibly language barriers. They have to be knowledgeable of resources that are out there. And then even after they find a provider, there might be other barriers like wait time and availability. So we're here to break down these barriers and help bridge the gap from a person in need to a provider that's available to help them. The way that we're able to do this is we have over 85,000 providers that are part of our database of care just in the state of California. None of these providers pay us to be part of our network. That is not our business. What we do have is a dedicated research and data team that finds providers across all insurance types, including Medi-Cal and sliding scale and free resources for families with no insurance. We make sure that we understand the ages they work with, the specializations they have, and their current location and contact information. And we've taken all this data and wrapped it into an easy-to-use software so we can help families quickly and efficiently get matched to an appropriate provider. It is important to understand what we are and what we are not. So CareSolace does not diagnose, assess, or provide treatment. We're here to be the linkage piece and get families connected to licensed professionals that are accredited to do so. Also, we're here for substance use and mental health care. Anything that falls outside of that, like shelter, finding primary care physician, job coordination, those are things outside of our wheelhouse. Also important, we're not a substitute or replacement for any school staff personnel or process that you have in place. We're here to be another avenue to get families connected and to be a partner with your school staff in working alongside to get families connected. Also important, we're not a crisis response team. So if someone's a threat to themselves or others, they should call 911 or go to the nearest emergency room. What we have helped families with is transitioning from a hospitalization such as 5150 into aftercare, so that as soon as there's a discharge, that individual goes directly from hospital right into inpatient care. There are two different ways that we can be utilized by your district. We've set up a proprietary universal access link, caresolace.com/Benicia USD. This is available as a confidential and anonymous self-serving tool to all families, students, staff, and staff family members. The other way that we're utilized is by staff referring a student and their family directly to our Care Concierge team. Our Care Concierge team is trained and supervised by our licensed clinical social worker. They're a multilingual, multicultural team that's really here to take care of everything for a family. So what they'll do is they'll help a family find providers that are local, and then we actually pick up the phone and we call those options on behalf of the family. That way, they're not the one having to wait on hold, verifying that that resource still accepts their insurance and that they have availability. We do all of that for them, and then we call the family back, letting them know the soonest available option. Having this team in place, we've helped increase enrollment across our districts by roughly 150%. So what I'm going to quickly show you now is the two softwares that I just mentioned, the two different pathways of care. So this here is caresolace.com/Benicia USD. This is a link that's available to all family members, staff, and staff family members to use as a completely anonymous and confidential self-serving tool to search for a provider. So you can come here, and what we've been told is this website is similar to the mental health for Airbnb. So you answer 9 simple questions of what you're struggling with, your age, gender, insurance, and zip code, and we're going to match you to a list of local options customized to those needs. And this website can be translated to any language here in the top right. And under book appointment is our 24/7 contact by email, phone, and video chat. Video chat is available 24/7, and we've seen a lot of families actually contact us between the hours of 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. About a third of our usage across districts comes in those hours. What this is our Care Concierge team. So anyone that calls us here, this will be that assistance to help you find a provider, calling those providers, figuring out which one has the soonest availability, and then helping you book an appointment. You can also choose to search on your own by stepping through these 9 questions. I want to also show you this software. This here is our Care Loop dashboard. And this is available to your school staff to use as a tool to refer a student and then track their progress getting connected. So this here is an example dashboard that we set up for a hypothetical school staff, Daniel Smith. And what this school staff can see when they log in is all of the families that they've completed a warm handoff for. Completing a warm handoff is easy. Once you have consent from a family, you can click this orange button and fill out a simple field of who the student is and who the family is that we're going to contact. That family will then receive a phone call from CareSolace, and that staff will see that family here. And at a quick glance, I can see a family's status, like Jim is getting matched to providers, Michael has been appointed, and Pam is pending an appointment. If I want to know more information about what's happening, I can click on the details button below each warm handoff. And this will take me to a timeline view. In here, I can see who the Care Concierge was assigned to the family, and I can reach out directly to that concierge if I have any question, comment, or concern. Below this, I see a timeline of activity. And so the most recent activity will be at the top, and I can check on this daily to see where the family's at with their assistance in getting connected. So as I scroll down, I'm scrolling through a history of correspondence between the Care Concierge and that legal guardian. I can see when the Care Concierge matched them with providers. I can see when we sent text messages. I can see when we received text messages. I can also see when this family has an appointment. So here on July 15th, this says appointment made for July 20th at 1. Further up, our protocol is always to follow up with families the day after appointments, and then again 2 weeks later to make sure that they're happy with the provider we linked them with. So I can track that as well here. And the day after that appointment, I see a message that says enrollment confirmed. And what this means is that family went to the appointment, they were happy with the provider, and they told us that they were going to continue seeing them. If they had missed the appointment or were unsatisfied with that option, we'd help them rematch, and the school counselor or school staff referring them could track that all here. Something that CareSolace is not a part of, and this is important, we're never revealing diagnosis or treatment plan information because we're actually not receiving that. We're classified as a FERPA compliant care coordinator, so what we're here to do is take care of all the legwork of figuring out who's available. Again, we do not diagnose, assess, or provide treatment, but we're here to help families with the tedious task of figuring out who's available and getting them linked. So that's an overview of our service. I'd be happy to spend a little time stepping through this, but at this point, I want to go ahead and stop my screen share, come back in, and see if there are any questions or anything I could dive into more detail about.
Trustee Carucci?
Delay of kicking our microphone on. I'm sorry. Thank you, Daniel, for your presentation. And I do have a couple of questions because it looks like an amazing system. So for that, I am very impressed and very grateful. But I'm a little bit unclear about where in the process or the system you actually fit in. How do our kids get to you?
Yes, so there's two different ways. So that now that we've recently partnered with Benicia, there are notifications that can go out to students. We also hope that that web link, caresolace.com/Benicia USD, is posted on the school websites and made available to families and staff, because that's a 24/7 access line that families can either search on their own or call us directly, and they'll get matched up with the concierge that will take care of everything for them in finding a provider. If they have private insurance, if they have Medi-Cal insurance, we're going to work with them to find an option that's available and then help them get linked.
Okay,
and then,
so
yeah.
No, well, here's what I'm curious about. So I have a student that's really struggling, and we know we have a lot of those children right now. So I can either reach out to a counselor, or can I reach out to you as a parent?
Yes. So if you're Julie, I don't know if you wanted to.
No, that's fine. That's what I was. The counselors and school psychologists have been trained, so students can reach out to them. Counselors also, when they have their DIS, and psychologists when they're providing their DIS and they notice that this type of service is needed, then they make those connections and those referrals. And the district keeps track of those referrals and how many people have held appointments into care.
Okay. So even a parent could access the system because we're going to share this with our families. And yes, I'm thinking about those parents that have been emailing us that they're really struggling with their children. And because the sites are closed, I don't know if those counselors are available. So that's why I'm asking for some clarity.
They are, and principals have been also shared with this information. Information has been sent. Jessica Garcia has done an extraordinary job in sending the information and the resources to families. So this is also out there. And one of the things that we have been discussing is to send out, perhaps like every month, just a reminder of these are the resources that are available to the families, because I understand that sometimes emails get lost in time, so the reminder will definitely help.
I think that would be good, a reminder.
Anyone else have any questions? And then I wanted to ask, because I wasn't sure if I heard correctly. So the families, do they have to have medical coverage to be able to access the service, or if they don't have?
They do not. No. So families, this is available to all families, just to emphasize that families can call us. If I'm a parent and I'm struggling with something, either personally or if my child is struggling with something, I can call CareSolace for whatever it is. If I want individual therapy, psychiatric assessment, if I need marital family counseling, higher levels of care like intensive outpatient, even if maybe I'm looking to detox, maybe I'm facing a drinking problem and I need to find a residential program. Regardless of if they have private insurance, Medi-Cal, or no insurance at all, CareSolace is here to help that family get linked and find an option. So we're here for your whole community. Staff can use this as well and their family members. So if I'm a teacher and my brother is struggling with something, my brother could use CareSolace. Or if I have a child that's gone off to university, it's also available to them. And in addition, the school staff can use us as a tool as they interact directly with families, as we know they often do, supporting them and hearing their needs. They can refer families directly to Care Solace and then follow up with that family and track whether or not they've been connected.
All right, well, thank you. We appreciate that. All right, any other questions before we move on to the next item? So thank you, Daniel. We appreciate the information.
All right, thank you all so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next we're on item 9, which is reports. And so we'll start off with our students. Our student reports, I noticed that we have Alyssa, Madison, and Michaela with us. So you guys go ahead and take it away. I don't know which one of you guys wants to start first, but I can hear you.
I can go first.
All right, thank you, Madison.
Yes, so hi again, I'm Madison, and I'm just here to share our things that we've done in the previous weeks at Benicia High School. So we did have sports start. That was very exciting. We had our first football scrimmage last Friday, and I'm actually a cheerleader, so it was so exciting just to see at least parents in the stands and us cheering for our football players. And it was I almost cried because I missed it so much. So it was very fun, and we actually have our first game on Friday, which is tomorrow. So hopefully you'll be on that live stream cheering us on too. And then we also had leadership elections. The leadership seniors, the election committee, we held interviews 2 weeks ago. And so we're actually just finalizing all of our decisions for next year's leadership class. So that's exciting. And we also had our Panther podcast. I was actually featured on Panther podcast this week. I am going to be starting my own podcast. It's going to be a sports podcast called The Aftermath with Maddie. I am hoping to major in mass communications and be a sports journalist. So it was just to tie along with March Madness. It was a kind of a good time to put my name out there on Panther Podcast. So that will be coming out. So you can look for that on our leadership website or our YouTube. And then our last thing was we also had adopt a senior drop-off. So the parents that have adopted a senior have dropped off their gifts, and those seniors will be receiving their gifts next week. And then I'll hand it over to Michaela.
Hi, thanks, Maddie. Yeah, I heard the podcast was pretty good, so I'm excited to hear it. But we do have a lot of events coming up just because school is reopening, which I'm pretty sure you all know, so I don't need to bring that up. But so tomorrow we have filming for our rally, which we hope to put out the Friday before we go on spring break. And then we have PBIS filming. We're going to film like a basically what to do video for when you go back to school with them. We're going to be like the student features, I guess, so to say. We're going to show them like, because I guess there's certain stairways you have to walk up and go down, and then like rules with water bottles, like what to do when you're entering. So we're going to help them film that. And then we also have our election videos going out, like Maddie said, for the student vote. So I believe that wraps up next Friday. So then we'll finalize like who's actually in our class. And then we also have March Madness coming up. We're going to do something on our Instagram just to give just to get them excited for both men's and women's basketball. It's just going to be something with the brackets, super easy, just on the Instagram. And then we had 2 forms go out, one for senior night, which is not going as we planned, but we're getting some form of participation, and we're supposed to film next Saturday, so that's exciting. I'm excited to see some of our seniors and parents. And then we had another one go out for Panther fan cutouts. Basically, that's for our football game, since students can't be there unless you're related to one of the players. I don't know if you guys saw the Super Bowl, but they did like fan cutouts to fill in the like seats. So we're actually planning to do that. We sent out a form, and then we're going to try to get the first 100. We've teamed up with Fatheads, so they gave us a good deal just because we're a school. So we're hoping that goes as planned. And yeah, as Maddie mentioned, we have adopted senior pickups next week. We're working with Miss K on freshman orientation just because we don't know how many are coming back, but we do want to make sure they know their way around the school, help them as much as we can. And for seniors, scholarships, the local scholarships have been sent out pretty like all over. They want to make sure we get covered as much as we can. And yeah, we have a lot going on, but we're excited.
All right, thank you. All right, Alyssa. Alyssa, are you ready?
Hi, sorry, yeah. Good evening, everybody. My name is Alicia, but I go by Alice, and I'm representing Liberty High School. And right now, Liberty is wrapping up the third quarter, and we anticipate 4 more seniors graduating early. All seniors, including those that graduate early, have been working with their counselor and advisors to complete scholarship applications. And we would like to thank all the committee partners and service groups that have provided our Liberty students scholarships and merit opportunities. While we have some seniors moving on, Liberty High School would like to welcome all the new students that are transferring to us. We look forward to seeing you in class. Due to COVID, we were not able to have our career week like we had in the past. However, Ms. Beth, our counselor, has been coordinating guest speakers from the community to come in our Zoom classes and talk about their careers. I personally attended one, I think this morning, that was on cosmetology, and they were really insightful and really helpful. I was very bad though, I didn't have many questions. Next week, we will be conducting the ASVAB testing for those that are interested in a career in the military. And Liberty High School is proud of all our alumni that have gone on to serve our country, and we wish them all the best. Well, thank you and have a good evening.
All right, thank you. Excellent, Alicia, Michaela, and Madison. Thank you so much for sharing with us and how you guys are engaging and still building community. We really appreciate it, and we definitely appreciate your reports. Okay. All right, next up, Superintendent Young.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everybody. Great job, students. Appreciate that. I hope you're excited about returning to in-person instruction. Just a quick comment from me. You know, this is, for me personally, I think for our system, an exciting time. We made the decision last week, and you're returning to in-person instruction. As we all know, you know, TK through second grade starting on March 29th, and then everyone else will be coming back the Monday following spring break. So during the course of this week, school sites are sending out very specific and detailed communications to parents, so they know what to do and what to expect. And so this will be a busy couple of weeks as we continue to communicate the details of what school will look and feel like when students join us again. And I know we're all very excited to do that. So that's our real decided focus at the moment. We know this time of year it's always incredibly busy because we're, you know, focusing on all the things that are happening in this time of the year, and then we have to turn our eye towards next year and start planning for the fall, so we can be shipshape and ready for that. So just want to conclude by saying we're very excited to be seeing our students again. I personally can't wait to see them and to see our staff in front of kids again. So it's a good time for our district. So that's it for me. Thanks.
All right, thank you. Do we have any reports from our trustees? Trustee Ferrucci.
Okay, I've had an exciting week with ledge action with CSBA. Did anybody get to chime in or listen in this week at all? So they did it a little differently. We were Zooming all week, and what they did is they had us various times within the course of talking to different legislatures, but we did get the opportunity to do that. So some of the points that they were focusing on, which I thought I'd share with you tonight real briefly, I'm going to bring up the broadband and the idea of access for students on the computers. That digital divide is what they're talking about and really looking at. And it was perfectly timed because most of the legislators that I was on Zoom with had technical difficulties, and we were getting kicked off or we lost their sound. So they were actually very comfortable getting behind looking at broadband support for kids and digital. One of the other things that we talked about, and we'll probably all be getting an email to support or respond to, is the AB 388 and AB 438. Tim and Kush and Charles, you probably already are aware of it. They're looking to change some of the labor issue laws that are circling around the March 15th and applying a lot of it to also to certificated and classified, more impact on classified. They didn't go into a lot of detail, but that will be coming to us. But I'm sure that our staff will be able to fill us in a little more clearly, but watch for those emails. The other one that'll be coming up is, again, the discussion, and I know you've heard it before, is the COVID-19 liability. Legislature's been talking about this for quite a while. They're bringing it up now in a discussion. So again, we'll probably be seeing an email at some point from CSBA asking for our input and or vote or support. So the idea is to kind of minimize the opportunity for lawsuits against the district should someone get ill. So that's what that is about. And then, of course, is the state budget. And the biggest thing is the changing COLA, which will be coming forward, as well as taking care of those mandates that they're not going to pay us for. So those are a couple of the things that we had. So real briefly, that was it. Those are the 4 areas of topic. I think 2 will impact us and get us emails, as they have done in the past, where they say, voice your opinion or put your support. So anyways, that's all I've got for you.
All right, thank you. Any other updates? I'll just say very quickly, we, part of our Solano County School Boards Association, we had our first equity session last week, and we had maybe over 50 attendees just from throughout the county, folks on city council, different school districts, superintendents, and so it was really good session. So we have 2 more sessions coming up, so we look forward to that. All right, next up is item number 10, which is comments from members of the public. In an effort for our community's voices to be heard, BUSD has transitioned to accepting public comments via the public comment voicemail that will now be available. Members of the public wishing to address specific items on the board meeting agenda are requested to call 707-748-2787. 1 comment per person per item, limited to 3 minutes on the day of the meeting between 3 and 7 p.m. Please note that no anonymous messages will be played. If your comment is for closed session, please be sure to state that so that it can be addressed prior to closed session. The board clerk will play the recording of all the open session public comments to the specific items then being discussed by the board bylaw 9323 during the public comment item. The governing board allows speakers to speak at regular meetings on agendized and non-agendized matters under public comment. Comments are limited to no more than 3 minutes per speaker, at which time the voicemail will be cut off. By law, no action may be taken on any item raised during the public comment periods, and matters may be referred to staff for placement on a future agenda of the governing board. Please be reminded to keep your comments respectful and that students may be watching the board meeting.
My name is Ken Jensen, a resident of Benicia for 31 years. The past few board meetings have had a lot of public comment in support of adopting the 1619 project curriculum for our school district. While I believe the practice of slavery is a stain on our history as a country, and it continues to have ramifications to this day, and I believe that the teaching of our history should not gloss over our faults and flaws, I have serious reservations and concerns about this particular curriculum. The core premise of the project, that the true origin of our country was in 1619 when the first African slaves were brought to our shores, and that the colonists fought the Revolutionary War against England for the purpose of preserving slavery in North America, is completely without merit. That premise in itself should raise doubts about this whole project. Fact is that there was a great deal of debate among the 13 colonies and among the framers of the Constitution over the issue of slavery. What's unique about America is that its founding actually marked the first time that a nation was expressly founded on principles that were opposed to slavery. We're the only nation that actually went to war with itself over the issue. And as Lincoln stated in his Gettysburg Address, we were conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Yes, our nation has its flaws. Our founders had their faults. And none of that should be ignored or covered up. But the rewriting of our history is not the answer. I believe this proposed curriculum is more about an agenda than it is about actual history. And I sincerely hope that there will be much more careful research and consideration given to it. I believe that no one should ever be judged by the color of their skin for any reason. Racism continues to be a problem in our society, but to make it the only issue will not help heal and unite us. It will only serve to divide us further. To pin all of America's founding and history on slavery is to deny our commitment as a nation to liberty and equality. To teach our children that America is rooted in evil is a great disservice to them and to all who want to make our country better. I fear that this curriculum does both, and I want to voice my opposition to it. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Erin. I wanted to make a comment regarding the 1619 project. I believe in equality for all students, and I oppose using the 1619 project in our curriculum. There are better ways to teach students about history and the horrible ordeal of slavery, an important subject that deserves our finest efforts. The 1619 project uses half-truths, false information, and ignores parts of our country's history. Being Native American, this really disturbs me. No school system should endorse it. No teacher should use it, and no student should be misled by it, nor punished for rejecting its fatally flawed premise. Thank you for your time.
Hello, my name is Kashana Lee. I'm a parent of children who attend Benicia High and Robert Simple Elementary. I wanted to bring to your attention concerns that I have about the lack of racial diversity among the Benicia Unified School District's teachers and administrative staff. This deeply concerns me because as a parent of Black children, I have witnessed a lack of representation over the years for Black and Brown students. There have been very few Black teachers hired, and currently there is only one Black administrator. This is unacceptable, especially during the times where there have been racial occurrences on campus. Black and Brown students have been left to feel unheard and unsupported. This combination of lack of diversity, lack of support, and muted Black voices in an inequitable environment causes undue racial traumatic stress and creates an emotionally hostile environment for Black and Brown children to endure for 6+ hours every day during the week. Dr. Beatson's equity presentation to the board on January 14th stated specifically that Benicia Unified School District needs to do better regarding hiring practices that supported a more racially diverse staff. I have become aware that our only Black administrator is now leaving his position in this district. This not only saddens me, but also strikes me with fear as he has created a safe space for Black students and their voices. As his position and others become available in the district, I implore you, the board members, to please pay close attention to the process and outcomes of who is getting hired into these vacant spots. Representation matters, and our Black students deserve to see a reflection of themselves in the school staff who serve them, teach them, and guide their thoughts and future ambitions. The time to change our current inequitable learning environment is now. Let us move forward together. Thank you.
Good evening. First, I would like to clarify the reopening date of school as the motion passed January 14th stated we would return to school March 22nd, the first day of the fourth quarter, state rules permitting. Then at the March 10th meeting, you again voted to push back the opening yet again, even though state rules permitted, this time until March 29th, digressing to only TK through second grade. So my question is, which day will the schools open? There is an open motion to open March 22nd. Since the vote was not rescinded, I am just confused as to what the school board has in mind. Please clarify. Next, with the motion to open on the 22nd and the teachers needing a 14-day notice, how is it possible that notice wasn't given? Clearly, we all agree votes only take place in public, so why wasn't the notification given as directed prior to any additional direction by the board publicly? Will notice be given this time, or will that be overlooked again? With that said, notice or not, that is a district grievance problem and not that of the students. So do not let that get in the way again as an excuse. Please clarify. Additionally, the district and the board has had 1 year to be prepared for the students to return to campus. 1 year. How is it that everything being put out is so confusing and feels very last minute? How is it that the board feels the schedule that is planned is in the best interest of the students? Still, this board favors the employees over the students, and it would be refreshing to see the students' interest placed at the top of the list. What is best for them? Please clarify. In regards to the functionality of the board, I'm assuming there is some sort of legal counsel to advise the board. How is it the president of the school board can state no anonymous comments will be heard? Is there not someone advising the president to the civil rights violations that present? Even the Brown Act strongly advises against that. Please clarify. How is it that comments are allowed to be heard regarding politics? The Ed Code clearly states, as do your bylaws, that only comments related to the authority of board may be heard. How is this allowed to happen, and what action will the district be taking for Ed Code violations? Please clarify. Finally, laws in this state are changing. Misguided ones are giving way to more focus. I am sure the district is well aware of the recent ruling regarding school closures. Although this is currently a temporary order expected to be affirmed in 2 weeks, I am perplexed there is not a standing agenda item regarding opening the schools in the event of the landscape changing legally. I am hopeful there has been some traction made for a full reopening plan in the event you are compelled to allow children back full time. I formally request the board hold a special meeting to set a date for full return to school, with the focus being March 29th for all grades. All the science you could read says you can, and the public health officials say you should. It's about time you follow the rules and educate the children. You've drugged your feet long enough. Thank you, Jimmy Ferrucci.
Good evening, Karen Dillon, 99 Rose Drive, Benicia. I would like to first thank those of you that took the time to reply to the emails that parents have been sending over the course of the last few months. Even those holding brevity are appreciated. For those that you chose not to reply or acknowledge, I find it lowering of one's moral high ground, as I myself have sent more than one and received no reply from the same individuals, and it is just plain common courtesy. Although there is nothing in the listed agenda pertaining to returning to school, I am pretty sure most of the calls will be questioning this in particular. Here we are, 11 days out from K through 2 start. In 11 days, I will be taking 2 of my 3 to school in person for hybrid. However, there has been no emails with student schedules for parents until today. Parents who need to rearrange their whole family's lives once again. 2 children in school, 1 child not, 2 parents working, going back and forth about who can leave early or why one needs to stay late to meet work requirements and not get let go. Wondering who is going to leave at lunch to pick up or drop off. Wondering if the oldest child's schedule will jive with the younger 2. Sitting in sports again, thankfully, but not forgetting the therapy for 1 child who has an extremely difficult time. Then making time for the mass amounts of homework that you can't help with so much during the day because you work for a living. I am sure you are thinking, oh, we have sent Zoom classes for parents to help work and mental health and games. The last thing I want to do is look at a screen, or for my children to. Zoom is not a classroom. And neither is what looks to be the middle school's hybrid schedule. This is not even hybrid. It's half of hybrid. 1:30 to 3? Seriously? How is this supposed to work? Forget the rushing all over and finding out who can help get your child here and there. But how about how ineffective this is for the students? What kind of plan is this? Hopefully, it's a really short one. California has the potential to be in the orange tier very soon. Since the fact that all teachers getting vaccinated by next week should no longer be an issue or be part of the agenda, as it shouldn't have before anyways, we parents are waiting on the information to move fully in person 5 days a week. Fear can no longer be a motive to stay virtual or hybrid. That excuse is worn out, redundant, played out, you name it. Move on with the facts, not the feelings. The facts where the science said to open weeks ago. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Krista Heredia. I live on East K Street in Benicia. I'm the parent of 2 children who attend Robert Semple Elementary, and I have an adult child who attended both BMS and VHS. I'm calling tonight with a general comment about, in regard to our continuing conversation about equity. I want to bring to your attention concerns that I have about the lack of racial diversity among BUSD teachers and administrative staff. I'm concerned about this because in the many years my eldest son attended both Benicia Middle and Benicia High, he only had 1 teacher who is not white. In the 7 combined years, my first and third grader have attended elementary school in BUSD. They have never had a teacher who is not white. In all of those years, we have never once experienced a non-white administrator. Dr. Beatson's equity presentation to the board on January 14th stated specifically that BUSD needs to do a better job in regard to hiring practices that support a more racially diverse staff. To my knowledge, the only Black administrator in this district is one high school vice principal, who I just recently heard is leaving the position, which is prompting my call this evening. As this and other staff positions become available within the district, I urge you board members to please pay close attention to the process and outcomes of who is getting hired into these vacancies. Representation matters. Our students deserve to see themselves reflected in the school staff and essentially create their learning environment. Right now, students are not represented in our school staffing and the timeout. As always, thank you for your commitment to the positions that you hold. I appreciate your time. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Hi, my name is Robert Crowley. I'm a resident who lives over on Erin Court. I wanted to call in first to commend the board and everybody that was involved in giving more information on the 1619 project, figuring out how we can implement it in schools. I've heard that folks are reaching out to other instructors and administrators that have already implemented within their schools, won awards doing so, and I just want to commend everyone and hope that continues to move forward. I think that would be a huge difference maker within our community, within our school district, and it gives us an opportunity to really be a leader in the Bay Area and the state of California in updating our education. I also wanted to call in because I heard that recently our only Black administrator in our district is vacating his position. And I wanted to, again, encourage everyone that's involved in hiring to please reach out and look for more Black people to fill this position. I think the more Black administrators and teachers that we have, it just creates more representation. And representation matters. Our students deserve to see themselves reflected in the school staff who serve them and essentially create their learning environment. So thank you for your time.
Hi, my name is Shelby Delaney. I live on Erin Court in Benicia. I want to start by saying thank you to all of you for your recent efforts regarding implementing the 1619 project curriculum into BUSD. I appreciate you all looking into that, as well as looking into staff education regarding race and equity. One thing I do want to mention to you all tonight is that now that our only Black administrator has left BUSD, I really want you all to pay very close attention to your hiring practices and outcomes and work hard to fill that position, as well as any other open positions with qualified applicants that represent all of your students. Many Black and brown parents and students have voiced that their kids' success in school relies on many things, one of which is representation in the staff, which is administration and the teachers. So as you look to fill that role, I hope that you all will try and fulfill the goals you've set with your equity goal that Ms. Leslie Beatson has discussed in the past. Again, thank you for your time and all of your efforts. Thank you.
Good evening, board. My name is Amber Clemens, and I reside at 129 Carlisle Way here in Benicia. The issue I'm calling about, unfortunately, is not on tonight's agenda. I was sickened to see the agenda for this evening and not see the topic of our children being back in in-person school full-time, not on tonight's agenda. This leads me to feel as if this topic is not of importance to you and is not as severe of an issue than I think you realize. You see, I'm a mom of 3 children who attend Benicia Unified School District, 2nd, 7th, and a freshman. I've been home with them full-time for now over a year and have seen the struggles that have taken place with them, not only academically, but mentally. I've sat and watched my 7-year-old cry and cry because he is exhausted from staring at a screen. I've seen my usual outgoing and bubbly 7th grader become sad and emotional because he was given promises of intervention classes to help him get caught up this year that have still not happened. He was also promised and told that he would be able to come back to school for small groups, yet we have not received a phone call. Our freshman is not only missing out on her first high school year experience, but has now lost all excitement for returning to school. I realize hybrid starts in a week and a half for some of our students, but that's just not good enough. I have zero faith that the school board has a plan in place for our fall 2021 school year. Why is this not on tonight's agenda? What are you doing to prepare for when we reach the orange tier and so on? What is your plan? There has been plenty of time to come up with a plan and communicate that with parents and students. As we have seen countless other counties and states opening for months now, it is possible to come up with a plan, and our students deserve better than what has been offered to them. In closing, I would like to address how appalled my husband and I were during the last board meeting when Mr. Maselli inappropriately stuck his tongue out when he heard a parent's comment. How is this okay? Mr. Maselli, I ask you, would you have done this if we were in person? Does it make it okay to act this way because you're behind a screen? What does this teach our children of our community? Because I can guarantee if any of our teachers saw students act like this, they would be called out and it would be addressed. I pray that this board can get their act together and do what is right for our children and come up with a plan to get them in school in person, full time, by fall 2021. Thank you for your time.
Hello, my name is Kathleen Ruiz and I live on Barton Way. I am calling more with a statement about stuff that I witnessed last board meeting that I truly feel needs to be said. Trustee Ferrucci asked a lot of very good, valid questions. And by the response from the board, I could tell that they didn't care. I really feel that we need to start putting our children first. And it's extremely sad that we will be the last district in Solano County to be returning to in-person learning. She also had to ask Trustee Maselli to not shake her head at him. I see him doing that every single meeting, and I find it extremely rude. And I can't believe that an elected official will do something that rude on camera in front of everybody that's watching. People keep bringing up the recall because it is about opening the schools. I truly feel that watching you as a board has made me see where I stand on the recall. And I hope that everybody watching is paying attention to your behavior moving forward and in the past, because that shows a lot more about you. Our children are suffering, and the fact that we are making them stay out of a classroom setting for longer than is needed is very disheartening. I understand that our teachers right now were set up for failure. They did not have the education or training to do distance learning, but they were thrown into it. I do understand that it is a very difficult position for anybody to be put in. But as a community, we could work together to get these children back in school safely. I hope that with the decisions that will have to be made in the next few weeks, that can happen. With tonight's meeting, I hope that you take into consideration all of the things that these children are suffering with. I see that mental health is on the agenda. I hope that whatever you guys discuss, you do discuss knowing that there are going to be many children coming back with more issues than they left with. I know that my experience with the psychologist was not a bad one for my children. I hope that we can get another person in there, hopefully helping, because there will be a lot more issues that need to be addressed as soon as these children do return to school. But we've had a year to prepare for it. We should be starting it now.
That concludes the public comment.
All right, and thank you all again for your comments. We definitely need to hear from you, and we do appreciate you calling in and letting us know. So we're going to go to, let's see, where am I? 11, item 11. And this one is for the consent calendar. And so all matters listed under the consent calendar are considered by the board to be routine and will be approved by the board in one motion. There will be no discussion on these items unless members of the board, staff, or public request specific items be pulled and discussed. And so for this one, we need a recommendation. Make a motion.
I'll move that we accept the consent calendar as presented tonight.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you. Trustee Ferrucci,
Yes.
Trustee Grubbs,
Yes.
Trustee Maselli,
Yes.
Trustee Moss.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Here.
Sorry.
Next up is item 12, which is discussion items. And so 12.1, initial sunshine of Benicia Teachers Association with Benicia Unified School District and Benicia Unified School District's proposal for 2021-22 negotiations with the Benicia Teachers Association. And Dr. Gill, I believe you will be sharing information on this one.
Yes, good evening, Governing Board, Superintendent, community members, and staff. So I have Miss Barbara Jones, our BTA negotiations chair, also joining us today. And she is going to go ahead and share the BTA information, and then I'll go into the district information afterwards.
Dr. Gill, this is Superintendent Young. Could you provide a little bit of backdrop for what this is and why we do this every year, just so the public is aware a little bit more?
Sure, definitely. So every year with both of our bargaining parties, which is Teachers Union and Classified Employees Union as well, we conduct negotiations to update our contract, or if there are any articles and specific items that are brought forward within that. So one of the processes is that for next school year, in this case 21-22 school year, to start negotiations for that school year, we need to, per BTA contract, sunshine our bargaining openers, which article BTA is going to open and which articles district is going to open, so that we can start negotiations. So we basically have to get the approval from the board first at this point regarding opening the articles. So after the sunshine, this happens, then we start the process of actual negotiation meetings where both parties, the negotiation team from the teachers union and negotiation team from the management, meet and discuss these articles and go follow the process.
Thank you.
Definitely. Ms. Jones?
Good evening. I am Barbara Jones, bargaining chair, one of the bargaining chairs for the Benicia Teachers Association. So I'm basically just going to read the document. So the Benicia Teachers Association initial sunshine proposal for the school year of 2021-2022. So the Benicia Teachers Association hereby submits the following initial proposal for reopener bargaining per our agreement of February 2020 with the Benicia Unified School District. All terms and conditions of the current BTA-BUSD collective bargaining agreement will remain unchanged, with the exception of agreements that are reached on the following articles. BTA believes in maintaining stellar achievement as one of the highest performing districts in California. Therefore, BTA is opening Article 2, wages. BTA believes in continuing to cultivate a system of social, emotional, and physical wellness for employees so that they can continually improve practice. Therefore, BTA is opening Article 5, health and welfare. BTA believes that safe and welcoming schools help students and staff reach their potential. Therefore, BTA is opening Article 8, safety. BTA believes in creating a collaborative team of highly engaged staff that supports the academic, emotional, and social success of all students for college and career readiness. Therefore, BTA is opening Article 11, evaluation. BTA reserves the right to create, add to, delete from, amend, and modify its proposals and/or open articles of the contract during the negotiation process. That's it.
Thank you, Ms. Jones. And BUSD also has the same articles open. I just want to give some background. Article 8 and Article 11 were the two articles that we collectively agreed
both parties last school year because a lot more work needed to be done. These are on articles, so we're going to have committees working on both of these articles, which will include team members from BTA and management to work on these two articles. So that's why we have opened them as well. Questions?
Does anyone have any questions?
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Dr. Gill. All right, next is item 12.2, which is the first reading of the following board policy BP/AR 1312.3, uniform complaint procedures. And Dr. Young, you'll be sharing this information with us.
Yeah, thank you very much. Actually, we have our friend joining us tonight, Ms. Jensen, who did a tremendous amount of work on this policy with us. And so I'm going to ask her to give us a little bit of a backdrop and let us know what we're looking at tonight. Thank you, Ms. Jensen.
Sure. So last year, we had a federal program monitoring review, and the folks came in and reviewed a lot of our systems and policies. And one of the policies that was of concern to them was our uniform complaint policy. It was not that we didn't have an accurate, up-to-date policy. It was that the policy didn't cover some of the new processes and language, and also some additional ed codes. So they requested that we review that and rewrite it. And since none of us are policy writers, we kept reaching out to California School Boards Association, who does our policies, and asking them for a policy. And they kept reminding us that they were waiting till they got the word from the federal program monitors as to what they needed in the policy. And that went back and forth for a while. And our curriculum department has been waiting to finalize our federal program monitoring report till this policy could be updated. So we finally got the policy from CSBA. It is actually, you'll see in the language that it does say that it meets the requirements of the federal program monitor. And finally, so we're rushing this through so that we can get it approved. This is just a first reading, and then the next regular board meeting, it'll come for a second reading and approval, and then we can finally close our federal program monitor. So do you have any questions about the policy? Or yes, Diane?
So, Betty, can you share with us what some of those additions that needed to be included actually were?
Sure.
Or whoever works on the committee could do that?
Sure. So it didn't actually go to the committee because we had to fast track this. So we just got it and we are getting it out right away. So some of the large things that have changed are some of the groups and group names that are included in the complaint process. And then also some of our departments. So for instance, preschool use wasn't listed in the past in the policy, and neither was adult ed. So some of those kind of groups have been added. It has been reworked. The verbiage has been reworked a lot. So many of the things were in there before, but the federal program monitors wanted it written in a different way. And so CSBA went back in and changed that. So there aren't a lot of huge changes in the process. It's a little more wordsmithing and bringing the policy up to date with what's happening in the world and what groups are called and that sort of thing.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying that.
Sure.
And just as a reminder too, on our board policies, you know, they really follow ed code. And with Ms. Jensen says CSBA, that's a California School Boards Association, and we work with them. They help us update policies. All school districts do that. So.
All right. Any other questions before we move on? All right. So next is item 13, non-consent action items, and we don't have any. And then after that would be adjournment. So
can I make a request, Yosemite? I know we all got the email this week regarding a lawsuit that's going on in Southern California that could impact every district in California, really short order, regarding the opening of schools. I'd like to request, I believe we have a one-item special agenda coming up on April 1st. Is that correct? Is that our new date?
Yes.
Yes, yeah.
I'd like to request that we discuss this lawsuit and its findings and the implication to Benicia and determine next steps at that board meeting. I'd like to add that to the agenda. And Charles, it may be that we need some input from Josh at this time as well. Thank you.
Anything else before we adjourn? Okay, well, I'd like to adjourn this meeting.
All right. Thank you and good night.
Bye. Thank you, guys.